Hi, today we're going to be learning about adding, subtracting, and measuring at the elementary level. First, we're just going to start out with simple pictures. So here we have 3 apples plus 5 apples is how many apples? That's 8 apples. Now we have 7 bananas, and then we have to add 5 bananas. How many bananas is that? That's 12 bananas. 2 more problems. Here we have oranges and strawberries. Take a moment now to maybe pause the video and then count and add up how many there are in total. So now if you're finished, for the oranges, we have 13 oranges, and for the number of strawberries, we have 14 strawberries. Now we're going to move on to doing some basic addition facts with only 2 addends. Addends are numbers that are added to one another. So here, if we look at our pictures, we have these 2 apples and this 1 apple. The 2 apples and the 1 apple that are being added together are called our addends because they are the numbers that we are adding to each other. Then here we have the 3 apples, which is the sum of the addends, because the 2 apples are added to the 1 apple, which becomes the 3 apples, which is our sum. Putting this into number form, our 2 is going to be an addend, and our 1 is going to be an addend. And then our sum, which is the total amount resulting from adding the 2 and the 1, will be 3. Take a moment to pause this video right now and try to solve these practice problems on the left at your own pace. Let's work through these practice problems now if you finish them. 6 plus 5 is 11, 2 plus 9, also 11, 4 plus 7, 11, 3 plus 8, 11, 8 plus 2 is 10, 1 plus 2 is 3, 4 plus 1 is 5, 9 plus 2 is 11, 6 plus 0 is 6, 3 plus 4 is 7, 1 plus 1 is 2, 4 plus 9 is 13, 0 plus 3 is 3, and 1 plus 3 is 4. Moving on now, let's talk about adding multiple digit numbers. The strategy we're going to be using for adding multiple digit numbers is called stacking. First, we're going to stack the digits, then we're going to add down starting from the right side, and then if the sum is greater than 10, we have to carry the tens digit and add it to the next digit. Let's look at the example here. 234 plus 158. We're going to start by stacking the digits, so we write it in a new form. Then we see that we have to start adding down from the right. So starting from the right, we have 4 and 8. We're going to add downwards. So 4 plus 8 is equal to 12. But the sum is greater than 10, so we have to carry the tens digit and add it to the next digit. So we're going to put the 2 down here because that's our ones digit, and then the 1 from the 12, which is the tens digit, will go up here. Then we're going to keep on adding down. So we're going to have 3 plus 5, and then we also have the 1 from before, so then that would equal 9. Since 9 is not greater than 10, we do not have to carry any tens digits. So then we end up with 2 plus 1, which is 3, and then our final answer is 392. Let's try some practice problems. Pause this video to try to solve this problem on your own first. 2,424 plus 1,662. Let's walk through this problem. What do we do first? The first thing we always have to do is rewrite the problem stacked when it's multiple digits. Then, what do we do next? We're going to have to add the stacked digits, carrying when necessary. How do we do this? We do this by starting from the right. So first, we have our equation written stacked on top of each other. Now we're going to add down starting from the right. So we start with 4 plus 2, which is equal to 6. Since 6 isn't bigger than 10, we're not going to carry. Moving on to the next digits, we have 2 plus 6. 2 plus 6 is 8. Once again, not bigger than 10, so we're going to move on to the next digit. 4 plus 6 is 10. This time we have a number that is greater than or equal to 10. So we're going to have to carry the 1, and then we're going to write the 0. The 1 is now with the 2 plus 1. So now we move on to those digits, and we have 2 plus 1 plus 1, which is equal to 4. Our final answer is 4,086. Let's do another practice problem. Once again, like always, pause this video and try to solve this on your own before we walk through it together. Now, Let's try to do this. What do we do first? We start by stacking the digits on top of each other, right? So we have to rewrite the problem stacked. So we're going to rewrite them so that they're 2, 6, 8, 0, and then on below that we're going to have 2, 8, 5, 4. And then we're going to add down like we did before. So starting from the right side, we have 0 plus 4, not greater than 10, we just write it down. 8 plus 5, greater than 10, it's 13. So we put the 3 down because it's in the ones place, and then we're going to write the 1 on top of the 6 and the 8. Then adding down again, 6 plus 8 plus 1 is 15, and then we're going to carry again, and then we have 2 plus 2 plus 1, which is equal 5, giving us our final answer, 5,534. If there's any questions, feel free to ask us. You can ask us in the comments or through email. We'll try to get back to you. Now let's try some multiple digit number practice. Pause this video right now and try to do all of these problems on your own. Then we'll go over the answers. All right, so we'll start from the left, the red. So 177 plus 2,646. This is equal to 2,823. 732 plus 2,898 is equal to 3,630. 392 plus 2,456 is equal to 2,848. 1,465 plus 572 is equal to 2,037. 2,893 plus 1,039 is equal to 3,878. Now onto the right side. 72 plus 65 is equal to 137. 31 plus 24 is equal to 55. 68 plus 83 is equal to 151. 54 plus 30 is equal to 84. Now let's try some word problems with addition. The first problem is Lucy went to the grocery store. She bought 12 bags of chocolate chip cookies and 29 bags of sugar cookies. How many bags of cookies did she buy in all? Pause this video and try to solve the first problem by yourself. When you've finished, let's work through this problem. So we're trying to find how many bags of cookies she bought in all. So if it says she bought 12 bags that were chocolate chip and 29 bags that were sugar cookies, then we know that we will be adding the numbers 12 and 29. And 12 plus 29 is equal to 41. So she's bought 41 bags of cookies. Let's do the next problem. George was very hungry and was looking for food to eat. He found 7 apples, 12 oranges, and 2 watermelons. How many fruits did he find in total? Take a moment to pause this video and try to work through this problem yourself. Let's work through it together now. We're trying to find how many fruits he had total. So if we look at the different fruits we have apples, oranges, and watermelon. And what we're going to do is we're going to add how many of each of those fruits they have, and we're going to put them together to find how many total fruits there are. So we have 7 apples, 12 oranges, and 2 watermelons. So we're going to be adding 7, 12, and 2, which is equal to 21 fruits in total. If there's any questions on addition, once again, feel free to leave a comment and we'll try to get back to you. Let's move on to doing some subtraction using pictures. So first we have 6 apples minus 4 apples. How many apples is that? That's equal to 2 apples. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bananas minus 5 bananas. How many bananas is that? That's 2 bananas. Let's move on. So here we have more fruits. We have our oranges and our strawberries. Take this time to pause the video and try to do these 2 picture problems yourself. When you're finished, you can play the video again. So our answers for these 2 problems are 1 orange and 4 strawberries. Let's move on. Here we have some basic subtraction facts. First, let's talk about the parts of a subtraction problem. So the first number that we have in a subtraction problem is called the minuend. It's the number that's being subtracted from. In our picture problems, this would be the 2 apples because we are taking 1 apple from the 2 apples. So it's the number that's being subtracted from. Then this 1 apple is what we call the subtrahend. It's the number that's subtracting, that's doing the subtracting. It's the second number when we're writing it, when we have two numbers in a subtraction problem. Finally, our answer is called the difference, and it's the result of a subtraction problem. Take this time to pause the video and try to do these two columns of problems. Let's go over the answers. 7 minus 1 is equal to 6. 9 minus 3 equal to 6. 7 minus 7, 0. 6 minus 3, 3. 4 minus 3, 1. 9 minus 0, 9. 6 minus 4, 2. 2 minus 1, 1. 9 minus 7, 2. 7 minus 6, 1. 2 minus 1, 1. 9 minus 6, 3. 8 minus 3, 5. 9 minus 5, 4. Moving on, let's talk about subtracting multiple digit numbers now. Our strategy is once again going to be using stacking. We're going to start by stacking the digits, and then we're going to subtract down starting from the right side. And if the difference is less than 0, we're going to have to borrow from the tens digit. So let's look at our example problem. 234 minus 158. We start by stacking the digits so that they're in this form. Then we're going to subtract down starting from the right. First we have 4 minus 8, but that's less than 0. So we're going to have to borrow from the tens digit. So this tens digit right here, the 3, is going to turn into a 2 because we are taking one from it and we're adding it to the 4. So now we're going to have 14 because we are adding 10 instead of just 1 technically. 14 minus 8, which is equal to 6. Now we move on to the tens digit. Remember that this 3 turned into a 2, so now we have 2 minus 5, which is once again less than 0, so we're going to have to borrow from the 2 in the hundredths place. This will turn the 2 in the hundredths place to a 1, and the 2 in the tens place to a 12. Then we have 12 minus 5, which is equal to 76. And that's our final answer. Let's do some practice problems. Try to do this on your own. 2,424 minus 1,662. What do we do first? We're going to have to start by rewriting the problem stacked. Then what do we do next? We're going to subtract down the stacked digits, borrowing whenever necessary. So let's see. We're rewriting the problem stacked. 2,424 over 1,662. And then we're going to subtract those two numbers. Then we're going to start subtracting from the right side. So first we do 4 minus 2, which is equal to 2. Then we have to move on to the tens digit with a 2 minus 6. But 2 minus 6, right? It's less than 0. So we're going to have to actually borrow 1 from the hundredths digit. So this 4 is going to become a 3. And this 2 is going to become a 12. Then we can do 12 minus 6, which is equal to 6. Next, we have 3 minus 6, which is once again less than 0. So we're going to have to borrow 1 from this 2 in the thousands place, and then this 3 in the hundredths place will turn into a 13. Then we can do 13 minus 6, which is equal to 7. Then in our thousands place, because 1 minus 1 is 0, that's basically a 0, and our final answer is 762. Let's do another problem. Pause this video to see if you can do it on your own first. So what do we do first? Once again, we're going to rewrite the problem stacked, right? And then after we rewrite the problem stacked, we're going to subtract down starting from the right side. So we start with 4 minus 9, but that's less than 0, so we're going to have to borrow 1, and it'll become 14 minus 9, which is equal to 5. Then we have 4 minus 9 again, but we must borrow 1 again, so we're going to have 14 minus 9, which is once again equal to 5. Finally, we have 7 minus 1, which is equal to 6, and we don't have to borrow for that. Then for the thousands digits, the 2 and the 2 end up subtracting to be 0, so our final answer would be 655. If there's any questions, once again, feel free to ask. Now we're going to start doing some multiple digit subtraction problems. Pause this video and try to do all these problems on your own, and then we'll go through them together. So we'll start with 645 minus 493, which is equal to 152. Then 955 minus 663, which is equal to 292. 611 minus 221 is equal to 390. 8,272 minus 5,542 is equal to 2,730. 6,990 minus 3,048 is equal to 3,942. 9,700 minus 9,626 is equal to 74. 53 minus 28 is equal to 25. 75 minus 28 is equal to 47. 84 minus 60 is equal to 24. And 51 minus 11 is equal to 40. Let's do some word problems now. The first word problem is, Tammy brought 63 pieces of bubblegum to school. There she gave 12 away to her friend. How many pieces of bubblegum does Tammy have now? Try to do this problem on your own first. We're going to have to start by seeing what she wants, or what the problem is asking us. The problem is asking us how many pieces of bubblegum does Tammy have left, basically, right? So if she brings 60 and then gives away 12, then she's taking away 12 from the 63. So 63 minus 12 is going to be our problem. And then that means our answer would be 51 pieces of bubblegum. The next problem is, the pandas at the local zoo were given 234 bamboo shoots to eat for lunch. They ate 129 bamboo shoots, but then were full and didn't want to finish the rest. How many bamboo shoots were left uneaten? Try to do this problem on your own. We're going to start by seeing what it's asking again. So what it's asking is how many bamboo shoots were left. So if we start with 234 and then we eat 129, the amount that's going to be left is going to be 234 minus 129, which is equal to 105 bamboo shoots. Now let's review the number line real quickly. If we're moving right on the number line, are we adding or are we subtracting? If we're moving right, we're adding. Now, if we're moving left on the number line, are we adding or subtracting? We're subtracting. So whenever we are moving right, we're adding, and whenever we're moving left, we're subtracting. For example, if you were to start at this 9 and you were to go to 13, you are adding. But if you were to start at 14 and go to 10, you are subtracting. Let's write some equations using a number line. So how would you write this as an equation, the red part? If we have 8, and then we have to add 1, 2, 3, 4, then we're going to get to 12. So to write this as an equation, we would do 8 plus 4 equals 12. Let's do the blue now. We see that we're going left. So we start at 6, and then we have to subtract 1, 2, 3, 4 to get to 2. So 6 minus 4 is equal to 2. Now we're going to move on to measuring. We're going to start with measuring with rulers and inches. We're going to measure these lines and we're going to check to see if it's right. Pause this video and do it on your own so that we can go over the answers together. So for the first problem, you should have gotten 6.2 inches. And for the next one, 2.2 inches. For the next one, 7.5. And the next one, 5.8. Now we're going to talk about telling time with an analog clock. Clocks usually have 3 hands, the long hand, the short hand, and the second hand. The long hand is the minute hand, and it tells us what the minute is. Don't be fooled, however. Even though it's pointing to the 2, it doesn't mean that there's 2 minutes that have passed. In fact, when you're counting minutes, every single number on the clock actually represents 5 minutes. So whenever you see this number, you're going to have to multiply it by 5. So instead of being 2 minutes, this would actually be 10 minutes. Then we have our shorthand. Our shorthand is the hour hand, and it tells us what hour it is. This one, you can just look at the number on the clock. You don't have to multiply it by anything. So in this case, since it's pointing to the 10, we know that it's 10 sometime. The second hand, we don't really pay attention too much, but it basically counts the seconds. Like the minute hand, what it's pointing to, you have to multiply it by 5 in order to see how many seconds have passed. Every single red line represents 1 second or 1 minute, depends on which hand you're looking at. So what time is it on this clock? It's 10:10 because the hour hand is pointing to the 10 and the minute hand is pointing to the 2, and 2 times 5 is equal to 10. Let's do some practice problems. Take your time to pause this video and try to solve these 6 problems, and then we'll go over the answers. So for number 1, we have the hour hand pointing at 4 and the minute hand pointing at 12, which would give us the time 4 o'clock. Then we have for number 2, the hour hand is pointing somewhere in between 8 and 9, and then it's pointing at the 3. So our time would be 8:15. For number 3, using the same logic, we would have the answer 11:30. For number 4, we would have 1 o'clock. For number 5, 12 o'clock. And for number 6, 9 o'clock. That's all. For the homework, you can go to this link and then do the homework. And thank you for watching this presentation.